90% of AI solutions or AI endeavors fail.
How do you think these organizations can adapt to the fast-paced adoption of AI that is there right now?
IBM Watson was mainly focused on predicting those outages hours and days in advance, and that's the product that I led end to end. So let's not do AI for the sake of AI, because there may not be AI. You may not get much value out of building intelligent UI, for example. No, it's not the hype. It's not going to die down.
Welcome, Rosha, to Nepal. First of all, we had a very short chat last time. It was wonderful first, and I think there's so much to learn from the experience that you have had over the past few years. There's a lot of work that is happening in Nepal in AI. But then you have such a long history of working in the industry, working in the domain. So we're very excited to have you here and bring the conversation forward. And I think for our listeners, I think it's going to be a lot of value add because there's a lot of people, especially on LinkedIn, who actually follow our work. So I think it's going to be a super awesome conversation. I'm very excited for it.
I am very excited as well. Thank you so much for having me here.
Awesome. Just to start with, we want to understand where did your tech journey begin, a bit about yourself, your journey from Nepal to US, and then how everything went forward. So maybe we can start there and then we can see where we went.
Sure. So my journey in AI started all the way back from academia. And the reason why I went into academia, did my PhD, was my back force there was my dad. So he's a PhD himself. He did his PhD doctorate from University of Minnesota in the US back in the 80s, and he would always be this inspiration for all of us, all three siblings of us, always encouraging us to go pursue PhD. So that was the only reason why I actually went after PhD, and I was actually kind of following my brother's footstep. So that's where it started, and I was fortunate to be in the lab of a professor who's been in the space of adaptive filtering. Now we call a lot of those as machine learning algorithms.
Yes.
Has written books on neural nets, and so I was fortunate to be in that lab and work under his guidance, and that's what I eventually transitioned to building algorithms in machine learning. So I built complex algorithms in machine learning space, nonlinear algorithms for regression and classification. And then that's where I did my PhD. My thesis was based on all of that. And then eventually I graduated, and it was a really wonderful time to graduate with as someone who has actually learned a lot about algorithms, because that was a time when big data was a big boom.
Yeah.
And then data scientists were so much in demand. It was a very new field. And there were also magazines talking about how data science is one of the sexiest jobs in the market.
Yes,
and it's so hard to hire them.
This was which year?
This was 2014.
2014.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and back then there weren't any courses on data science. So that's where it started. And I was fortunate to actually eventually land a job as a data scientist at Weather Company or Weather.com. And that's where my journey in the industry as a data scientist began. But back then, AI भन्दा पनि बढी चाहिँ it was more of data science. How do we build the machine learning models? नै थियो. And my first job in the industry was to actually tune neural network models for predicting power load in a certain area. So that's where it started. And then eventually IBM acquired Weather Company, and then our team eventually rolled under Watson, IBM Watson. And that's where I learned to hone my skills as data scientist and grew myself as a lead data scientist and led a major Watson product called Outage Prediction.
Outage prediction.
Outage prediction. Yeah. So outage prediction भनेको चाहिँ weather data ले चाहिँ certain area मा कहिले र कतिखेर outage लिएर आउँछ भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ predict गर्नुपर्ने थियो machine learning model use गरेर. And based on that, the utility companies would send their crews hours in advance. And कस्तो हुन्थ्यो भने internationally how it's managed is that if the utility companies cannot take care of the outages in a certain area, then they have to pay huge penalties. And that's where the business was. So IBM Watson was mainly focused on predicting those outages hours and days in advance, and that's the product that I led end to end. And it was a good run in IBM. Then I wanted to venture into leadership roles.
Okay.
So, and healthcare was very green in terms of AI and machine learning. And so I found a wonderful opportunity to start getting into that leadership role. That is when Centene Corporation, I joined Centene Corporation, which is a Fortune 25 healthcare company. It insures 1 in 15 Americans. And in that company, data science was already there, but I actually requested and pitched the idea that we could actually build products using machine learning that can actually make decisions on behalf of human beings and help our analysts solve their work basket. So that idea was very well taken care of, taken in by our stakeholders, our senior directors and VPs, and they decided to kind of sponsor that idea. And so in a matter of a year, we grew the team to 11-member team. And I went from being a data scientist to a manager, machine learning manager. And then in a matter of another 2 years, the department grew to 50 members, and we launched 3 to 4 products. And I became the AI machine learning director at Centene Corporation. So it was a really fun ride, good ride.
Amazing.
And then after that, the journey as a leader continued, and then I moved to DataBand. That's another healthcare company. That there I was chartered to build the AI department ground up as head of AI. And so it was also another fun ride. We launched major products in risk adjustment space in healthcare. And then eventually last year I started my own AI consulting company. And called SolvDat, and we're gonna talk more about that later. But so that's where I am right now. It's been a fun journey, learning things and working as a business leader and a AI technology leader at the same time. So that's
amazing. That's amazing. And I think you mentioned that right now you are working. You're building your consulting company, and then I think you also mentioned that the consulting companies focus more on service delivery and then consulting, enabling businesses to adopt AI. In that scenario, how do you see the current landscape? And it was interesting that you shared about the data science reality in 2014. We probably see a very similar reality with AI talent right now, that probably there is not a lot of academic infrastructure to actually support the scale of AI talent that is there in the market. So as you are building a AI consulting company right now, how do you see that spectrum? Like, does it give a very similar pattern to what it was in 2014, or do you see some new trends right now?
So as an AI service company, while building this, even before building it, the reason why I actually thought that AI services company would be a really good thing to start was because of how there's a huge gap in not just in the skill set, but also in the leadership space as well. We see day in and day out, everybody is talking about AI. It's very hard to distinguish who is an expert and who is a newbie in this space, right? Because thanks to the AI tools, everybody, it's been very easy for everybody to kind of get equipped with these tools and be able to, become the experts in those. But also, it's at the same time, it's difficult to identify the right AI leaders, the ones who can drive the right strategy, who can ensure that, with the investment that the companies make, the right ROIs or expected ROIs can come back. And also the ones who can actually identify the right talents and recruit them. But at the same time, the right ones who can actually also grow the talents. And nurture them and make them, turn them into AI leaders. So that is a huge gap that I've experienced while working as an AI leader for years. So with that particular thought, I felt like AI services company would be a really good thing to start
Okay.
To begin with. Then I want to go back to the question that you asked me in terms of how do I see the gap in the resource or the skill sets as well. I feel like there is foundation layer there, but going from the foundation layer that you get from the education in colleges,
Yeah.
there is a gap to transition into what the companies need today.
Yes.
So there's that gap is where I think there's a lot of opportunity to bridge that gap and grow the individuals who have the right skill set to become an experienced or an expert AI engineer or machine learning engineer or MLOps engineer.
Yeah.
So there's a broad spectrum of skill sets that can be grown from the individuals who are just freshly graduating.
Okay, amazing. So, where do you see talent? Because you started here in Nepal and then you went to the US. There's so much of exposure, global exposure that you have had. If there is someone trying to build a career, probably on a very similar path as yourself, what would the recommendation be? Let's say, for example, there is another Rosha somewhere here in Nepal or maybe in India, ever in our ecosystem. How could they make a career? Would they be a similar path as it was for you, or would it be a very, very different path right now with AI and everything that is happening there?
It really depends on what their interest is and what their passion is about. For me, solving math problems was my passion because that's where it started.
Okay.
But I would really leave it into individuals and what their passion is and where they want to actually build their skills in. Because as we talk about AI, it is a really broad spectrum, right? I usually like to talk about AI as an AI system that goes all the way from the data layer to this machine learning models. And then to the software engineering layer, that is the system layer, and then finally to the consumption layer, right? So that's the entire pipeline that has to work really well in tandem for the system to be valuable, right? And once it's valuable, that's how it's profitable and that's how it works. And so in this entire spectrum, if somebody wants to dive into the AI space, I really encourage individuals to, first of all, find what their interest is. Where do they gravitate towards naturally? Do they gravitate towards UI designs? Do they gravitate towards mathematics? Do they gravitate towards data layer and insights, finding insights? Do they gravitate towards software? And do they gravitate towards an overall design or the system design, right? So that would be the first thing. And then once they identify what they naturally gravitate towards or what their in other words, what their niche is, right? They can either build their niche by practice and courses, or they may already have it and they just need to hone it. That would be the second thing. And then the final thing would be, if they are freshly graduating, internships would be a great place to start. Finding mini projects to do would be great because these days resources are not that expensive. It's not scarce. So if you can actually find mini projects to work on, to show your work or to even learn it, that would be great. And the fourth thing I would really encourage everyone to do is find a mentor, because you can only learn so much from books and texts and videos. If you find the right person who can actually pull you up, you will grow really fast. So go looking for, try to network, try to talk to as many people as you can. This is a global world. It's very easy to, connect with people. So reach out and see if, you can find some mentorship that fits your needs. So
as you mentioned, we can connect to anyone. Like our first connection was on LinkedIn, but we see people's work online and then we go connect. Do you still think that it is necessary for someone to go to, let's say, for example, US or UK, to have a very similar kind of exposure like you had in today's world? Do you think that is still true as a fact, or do you think the scenario has changed a lot? And when you answer this question, I wanted to be very realistic, and because there is an optimism towards there is an open world and everything. But then, if I'm building a career for myself today, and if I'm living in a country like Nepal or any other countries that have our realities, to be able to get an exposure like you have done, do you think it's possible today without geographically shifting to that place as such?
I think it's a really heavy question. It's a loaded one because it touches on multiple aspects. So what I truly believe is that education system in Nepal is catching up.
Yeah.
And so if you're somebody who seeks to educate yourself in certain area, you can always find education because of the online education that has been out there. Videos are out there. What really matters, I think, is the network. So wherever you go and colleges that you go to, it is the network that is eventually going to help you grow. The people that you interact with is going to help you grow. That's one. Having said that, obviously nobody can beat the education system that is in the US, right? So if it is that you want to pursue education in the universities, like top universities, I mean, US is the place to go.
Yeah.
But if you want to build career, once you've pursued education, if you want to build career, then I do think that there's a lot of opportunities that are coming up in countries like Nepal, because lots of multinational companies are building their offices in there's a major thing going on around right now as offshore companies, right? Offshore offices. So I do think that Nepal is coming up in that arena where there is a tremendous value to be captured if we were to build such a skill set, and if we were to pull together such skill set to actually establish an offshore company for larger companies, multinational companies that are globally situated. And we don't have to look that far to actually make that happen. India is a great example. It's our neighbor, and now I think it's moving from services space towards a product space, right? And we do also have some great examples within Nepal as well. Some multinational companies have been established here as well. So I do think that career-wise, it is not an absolutely mandatory thing to be abroad and that you have to live abroad. In fact, the life here, as I came to Nepal recently in Kathmandu yesterday, I'm like pleasantly surprised by how once you get inside a building, it's just hard to remember that you are still in Kathmandu or in Nepal. It just feels like everything is so impacted and influenced by an outside world like European countries, and so it's like
and
lifestyle wise.
I don't know if you noticed, it's also become a very quite expensive place to live.
I'm amazed how people can afford it. The surprised was okay to say. So lifestyle was also lifestyle ko लागि चाहिँ there's no need to go abroad. Career wise पनि I think there's a lot of opportunity here. But education wise, if you're somebody who wants to get the top-notch education and pursue PhD or get higher education, I would definitely recommend the folks to try out, and it would be a good learning and growth experience for them too.
The couple of things that I want to touch on. My brother, he's currently doing his postdoc at Harvard, and whenever we have a conversation, he always tells me that if you want to be at the top end of scientific discovery, that is when you need to be in the US. Else there is a lot of things that is happening around in the world, and I think it's probably echoes to what you just said as well. The other thing that I want to quickly touch upon what you said was, let's say I'm a student and I'm going to US, and if I'm not going to a good college, is it still worth it?
I would really encourage the people who are actually wanting to go abroad just for the sake of going to talk to the people who are actually living there and have honest conversations with them, right? Because and you've been there in that life, and it's a tough thing to be able to battle. Not just here that you just have to focus on education, right? There you have to actually battle with living, earning your living, and then making sure you're also good with your healthcare, because healthcare situation is really messed up. And then also completing your education in the good way, right way, with good grades, because it's a lot to take in at the same time. And then there's culture shock as well. Maybe not so much now that there's so much exposure, but there's some elements of culture shock there too that you have to actually cope with it. So managing all those four elements at the same time, and making sure that you are still attending great education in school. I would really encourage individuals to talk to your network that's living abroad and have find those who can actually have honest conversation with them, and then make the assessment on whether it makes sense to actually go for those schools or not.
Yeah, because I think the talent over here in Nepal is good to a certain level, and I think when we discussed last time, you also mentioned that the talent over here with some good mentoring can actually do a lot of good work, and I think that piece is actually missing because US obviously is a great country, such a free place to build your career, build businesses, but I think if people going to that place get a bit better mentoring, I think they could actually gain a lot of that experience as well. And I see a lot of that struggle around here. So that's great.
And I also want to add one more thing is that म आफै गएर आएँ होइन गएर अब I'm still living there, so I don't want to portray an image that okay it's good for some people and it's not. त्यो होइन. तर when I went, I made a conscious decision and I weighed in all the choices and all the factors, all the variables that I mentioned, and then I made a decision that yes, I can afford to do this. Yes, I will deal with it because I have a stable support system, and then I had a well thought of plan on how am I going to get my PhD done and what am I going to do after that. So त्यो थियो अनि त्यो एजुकेसन सकेपछि फर्केर आउने भन्ने प्लान त थियो, but that's a different story.
Sorry.
But I had a plan for myself and I knew that it is going to work out. And my brother was living there and I was already aware of what kind of challenges there would be. So म त्यही नै भन्छु. I just want to leave that conversation with that. It's not that you shouldn't try. It is that try it, but have as much information as possible, the honest information as possible, and then make the right decision for yourself.
Yeah, totally agree. And I think that I think we're at a place where the talent here in Nepal probably has to understand that, so that they can probably go there and they can still probably go there, but still do a lot better than they would actually.
And lots of people have done so well.
Yeah, exactly.
So हाम्रो नेटवर्कमा कतिजना छ that they have been there, they've struggled through their education, but then they have come out of it so well. And they've made names for themselves too, right? So there are great stories to tell out of that too. So
amazing. But thank you so much for sharing that. I think there is so much of hope around this conversation in our part of the world. But I think because but when I actually wanted to go to the US and then study over there, especially my master's, this was the conversation I had with my brother, and then we had the conversation of how it might not make sense to me to take certain steps in that direction, and that really helped. And I think very grateful for that. Now coming back to the current time, we are at a time where we can either build an AI service company or an AI product company. What would you see as a better option to do? And then do you see talent in Nepal equipped enough to actually contribute to either of them on a global scale?
I think there is opportunity for both.
Okay.
Services and product, both. It really depends on what the interest of individual lies and how much of a runway that they can afford to have without the right investment in return, return on investment. So I think there is scope for both. अनि अहिले त अब अहिले thanks to the AI boom recently, all these models that are so easy to run, all these compute power that's just so much cheaper these days. It's very easy to build prototype once somebody has an idea. Right? Not even just globally, within the Nepalकै contextमा पनि it's very easy to come up with these prototypes that could work for Nepal's context too. And so I think there's opportunity for either of these things. What I've learned from my personal experience is that finding the right network of people to work with is going to be the crucial thing for success. Because if somebody is really great at building AI prototypes, they need to find somebody who can sell it. Right? They need to find somebody who can bring the investment. They need to find somebody who really understands the user market. So that's just an example of a group of people who could come together to build a product. Similarly with the services as well, right? So you need to find the right set of people to work with to make it a success. So there's opportunity in both. You just need to figure out what's the path you're going to take and which people you're going to work with.
One thing on the service side, this has been my observation in the market, that So there is AI is not new. It's been there for such a long time. The technology is evolving. We are just in an AI boom right now, where the adoption is very high, and then we saw no, probably not a similar boom, but then a boom for another technology, blockchain, pretty recently as well. But then the difference over there is that blockchain didn't probably touched anyone, probably touched the technical people and some people who wanted to use the technology. But AI is touching everyone. AI is touching the father, the mother, the kid's teacher, anyone, everyone who is around it. So the in the current adoption of language models and all these new technologies that are coming up, I see a totally new space for service companies building up, which in my knowledge is very unnoticed by the larger mass. There is huge opportunity to make sure that we can build agents, we can build workflows for people, help them build technologies on top of it, and then create pretty large business out of it. Is it my understanding as well, or do you agree to that?
Yeah, I have seen that happening as well, and I'm not so much aware about the Nepal market. Right?
Yeah.
The US market, man, say over the course of time since 2023 when the AI boom started, and the most profits that have come to are the companies that are actually services companies.
Yeah.
So I don't know the exact number, but it is a really large amount of value that they have gained or captured over the course of these 3 to 3 years.
Yeah.
That's because there's a rush for larger organizations or even mid-sized or beginning organizations to get into this AI race, and because they don't have the skills or the tools or the platform to get going, they would need partners to build it, and this is where a lot of these larger consulting companies have really captured that market and have driven value out of it. There's also a lot of question about it as well, because what has happened is, in my understanding, is there's been a lot of investment done to do the research and prototyping. And now there's a big challenge for companies to actually deliver the value. So 2025, 2026 is coming up as the years where, organizations have to actually show that there's value out of all the investment that has been done so far. So with that said, I do think that with every new technology that comes in, services companies are going to create some, value capture and take that opportunity and build themselves.
Right now, we are training a lot of organizations. We're working with a lot of organizations, which are legacy organizations. And when working with legacy organizations, we see problems on multiple levels for their AI adoption journey. So one, the technology is moving very fast. Second, the question is about, okay, I understand technology first. So once I understand the technology, do I build internal capacity in the organization, or do I build external capacity and then hire someone or hire some organization to bring in? If I have some internal capacity, how do I upskill them? If I don't have that internal capacity, which is a reality for a lot of legacy organizations, then how do I even have conversation with the vendor who is bringing me service? That is a big challenge that we see legacy organizations and financial institutions facing in this part of the world. How do you think these organizations can adapt to the fast-paced adoption of AI that is there right now?
As I talk about AI journey, it all starts all the way from the data layer, right? If you don't have any data, there's what are you going to do AI on? And then the second thing is, like, how solid is your data layer? Then the second one is, if you've already started building something, if you already have a software layer or a system layer, that might be another area where you could look into how to use or leverage AI. And then ultimately there's the user layer. User layer ma pani aba there's a lot of UI websites in those websites can you actually build intelligent UI, right? So that is where a lot of industry actually a lot of companies actually started their AI journey at, was that if they don't have anything, they start with the UI layer because it's just so easy to infuse AI into it. You can just build a chatbot, right? Thanks to Gen AI. So that's where a lot of companies also start if they haven't started at all. But it is really a matter of what is the understanding that the leadership in that company has about AI. and where do they actually want to go? Do they want to be the users of tools and enable their individual contributors or folks in the company to actually utilize AI? Is that where they want to be? Do they want to be actually trailblazers and actually build models? And do they want to create the entire AI ecosystem for themselves? Do they want to create their own platform and have another tool work on it? Right? So or do they want to actually find partner and just find their niche in their business, but have a partner who can work with them alongside with them to build this thing? I said a few things, but I'm sure there's a lot of other areas and other variables that you could look into. But that's how I think about it. Is like first place to start is to actually assess where are they in their AI journey, and what is it they want to do eventually. Because ultimately, whatever business they are in, whatever customers that they are serving, what really drives value for the customer is with the thing that they are doing, right, in their domain. Everything else, AI in itself is actually a tool that's going to help them enable and help them do it better, right? So I think having a very good understanding and clarity of where are they and where they want to head is going to be the starting point.
Okay, so let's look at the scenario. I am a leader in a financial institution. I do not come from a technical background. I have no background with coding, or somewhere probably during my engineering days or my IT days, I might have studied some programming, but that was maybe 10, 15 years, 20 years ago. And then I'm leading AI adoption or innovation for my organization, which we have seen to be a case for a lot of organizations in this part of the world, where you do not have the right or the AI talent, which has an AI background for multiple years, right? So if we have this kind of talent in the organization who is leading AI adoption, how can they traverse this AI adoption for their organizations? And as you mentioned, they need to understand where they fall in the AI spectrum. How do I even begin that journey? How do I even understand what the AI spectrum actually would look like, and how do I traverse? How do you think that they could go about it?
So if there is a leader, if there's a business leader who understands the business really well, then they would understand. I would think that they would also understand what the gaps are, how they can bridge the customers, gaps and demands. I think maybe that's the place where they would start to dig in. As far as the understanding of the AI, having the AI lens itself, what a lot of companies have been doing is that they have been training their leaders to have basic understanding of AI and then building up their AI knowledge, right? Because a leader doesn't have to know everything, but the leader needs to know right thing to hire the right people, right? So how do they build that capability in-house with the leaders? That is definitely a big challenge, especially it is not an intuitive thing to learn, right? AI is not an intuitive thing to learn. It has become a lot more intuitive thanks to the tools that have come up. So, I mean, I think training would be the first place for them, and then potentially a partnership with the companies who have actually been doing it or have the ability or experience of having done this for multiple years. That would be potentially the two ways to go, and that's where a lot of organizations have been doing since the AI boom has happened. So maybe those would be the two places that these organizations can look into.
Okay. I think that makes sense. And I think we see a lot of that in conversation as well. So let's say, for example, if you have to give like a takeaway for AI adoption leaders in organizations, even to understand who is the right partner, what are the three things that you would look at in the partner? Let's say, for example, I'm running a bank here, and I'm trying to bring an AI into our systems, and I'm selecting a partner. What are the top three things do you think you'll have to look at to make sure that you are actually having a right partner? But then, because as you mentioned, there are a lot of companies that they can partner with, and for them, there is a lot of noise. How do they actually catch the right signal in terms of this is the right partner for me, for my organization, which any organization which is maybe more than 3,000 people strong in this part of the world?
Yeah. Do they have so first, maybe you talked about three things. So three things, if I have to think of three things, I would place the first thing as a value-oriented leader.
Okay.
So is your AI leader or AI partner,
Yeah.
do they know how to generate value out of the business that this company has while connecting it with AI? Because if they are going to find partners, they have to be very mindful of not having partners who are just pitching ideas and don't have the experience to generate value.
Yeah.
Right? That's the one.
Yeah.
Is have a value-oriented person who can actually identify business use cases and figure out how the ROI can be captured out of it. That's one. The second one is having a partner who can actually pull together the right resources or experienced resources who have not just built prototypes, because it's very easy to build prototypes these days, but has actually taken those into production and generated value.
Yeah.
And it's going to be hard to find them because a lot of people think that AI was just 3 years or 4 years old, whereas it has been there for decades, and there have been companies who have been doing this for decades. So that would be the second thing, is can this partner pull together the right resources who can actually take it to the production successfully? That would be the second. And then the third thing would be, do they understand the user base, or do they have the user focused mindset, customer focused mindset? Because ultimately the value of AI would only come from the adoption. If the adoption is not right, no matter how great of a product you build, it's going to fall flat. So are they going to be the ones who can actually help them build the products with their customers in mind? And what kind of tools and process and framework do they have to actually maintain that and build that? Those would be the three things that I think I'd point out.
Okay, because our experience of being in the learning and development space for AI has been that there are experts and like people like you who have been working on this from a really long time, and there is a lot of intuition those leaders could bring to the current massive AI adoption. I somewhere feel the addressable market is really, really big right now, just because everyone wants to adopt it. And just because the addressable market is really, really big, I also almost sometimes feel that will we lose hope on AI just because we do not have the capacity in the market of expertise that can actually service the TAM? Do you ever feel like that? Maybe if I have to rephrase it, there are less experts in the market who can actually provide the value, as you mentioned, than the demand there is in the market. Everyone wants to do it, but then if I am not getting the right partner, probably I will not really trust AI as much as a technology, or probably will not be able to see its potential as well. Do you see that as a reality here in the West or anywhere in the world?
I actually see that as an opportunity.
Yeah.
Right? Because with every new technology that comes in, there's always that gap where like big data was a thing, cloud is a thing, blockchain is a thing, right? AI is another thing. But so that's also where I see this as an opportunity where that's where having or finding the right partners could potentially be a thing for them to bridge the gap. But I also think that these larger companies, larger organizations, they have the reason why AI has moved so fast is because companies like Meta and Microsoft, OpenAI, and other companies are also stepping in. They actually, in their own fight to get ahead in AI, they've actually released a lot of open source materials, right? And so I think the training materials would also come up as fast, and the courses would also come up as fast. And so reskilling thing is going to be a byproduct of this fast advancement in AI. So yes, there will be some gap, but I also do see this as an opportunity for reskilling folks and then having them become experts eventually.
The other part of the spectrum that I see as organizations is that I work with 5 vendors, I work with 5 different sets of people, and nothing has worked. If I, as an organization, have reached that stage right now in AI adoption, and then a lot of people are talking about it, large investment is going on to onto large companies right now, and then AI adoption is a real thing, and there are companies who are benefiting to it for sure. But then I as a business, I'm at a stage where I've tried 5 things. It has not worked for me. I've tried 5 vendors. I've burned some capital in that process. And I'm almost at a stage where I don't think AI hype is actually real. So if I, as a business owner, is at that stage, how do you think I can navigate the journey further with AI adoption?
I'd first pause and ask if there's actually a use case of AI or not. If there are 5 failures, it could be because that they were not doing it right. Yes, that has happened. 90% of AI endeavors fail. That's a true story. But having said that, is there even an AI story there, right? So let's not do AI for the sake of AI, because there may not be AI. You may not get much value out of building intelligent UI, for example. If the users are not even demanding it, right? So I think really it's a matter of understanding. My advice to that leader would be like really understand, what is the demand for AI for their business, right? And what let's are they just jumping the bandwagon, or do they really see that there is a use case, and if AI was there, it would help them? That's one. And if they identify that, which is actually tied to the source, the value, that's when maybe the second advice would be that they need to go with the right partners who actually can build it for them. And then obviously that along that comes the investment and ensuring that the ROI, the return on investment, makes sense for them. So maybe those two things would be the advice for them.
Do you see this as a problem in the US as well, or because our context is the subcontinent context? Do you see this as a problem in the US as well? Do you see similar realities unfolding in US as well, or in the Western markets?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's an established statistics that 90% of AI solutions or AI endeavors fail, right? And there are multiple reasons to it. One could be that they're just doing AI for the sake of AI. That could be that. But the other things are that they don't have the right partners, they don't have the right skill sets, they also don't have the right tools and platforms to build it, and they don't have the right leaders who can actually take a POC to make it into production. So it could be multiple things that could be impacting it, and it's not a story of just 3 years. It's a story for like years beyond that, to 5, 6, 10 years, right? Since when the machine learning models have come into play. So I think it's a global thing, and because, as I said, because it's something that taking an AI product into production is still a new thing. There's lots of lessons to be learned, and those lessons have not come out as courses and trainings. So that's where failing fast and figuring out what sticks, and coming up with a framework where they can leverage it and do it right. All those things are gaps, and I see that as also an opportunity for them to improve.
Okay. And one of the other things, just to wrap this section up, one of the other things that we have seen is that when we go and train board members and extremely senior leadership of any organization, large organization, the one question that always echoes is that, okay, how do I build the internal AI capacity for my organization first? Who should be the person who should be taking charge this? What should be the skill set of that person? Does that person needs to be a heavily technical person, or there are some other skill sets that can transfer from other walks of life as well into this kind of role? So if I'm a board member of a large organization or a senior leader of any organization, and if I have to pick one person to lead the AI adoption moving forward, then what would you recommend to that board, saying, oh, this is the kind of person that you need to look at?
As an AI leader, I think few qualities that I see would really help them are, one is a leader. Obviously a leader, there has to be a leader who actually is invested in growth of their people. That has to be a leader, but that leader has to have system thinking, because they need to be able to see the end-to-end picture, right? That's one. The second one is it's because it's AI and it's a highly technical field, having somebody from a technical background would be a good thing, an important thing actually for success. Somebody that has come from technical field or software engineering background, and somebody who's really open to learning and can really learn fast. And the third thing is somebody who's not worried about failing fast. Because it's a highly fastly moving space, and it's highly experimental also because it's highly data driven. And so having that mindset of being able to fail fast, learn fast, and then build fast and that would be, I think, the third key qualities that somebody could look into. And then as a leader, it's a given that this person is expected to grow their team, build their team, recruit the right people. Those would be the byproducts of that leader.
What other thing that we have seen in this reality is that there's in today's time, if there is any organization that is more than 200 people big, do you think putting a team that is separate for AI adoption is a better idea, or having people with other daily works that they need to engage in, leading AI adoption is a better idea? Like what kind of trade-offs do you see in this scenario?
So this has come up very often in my conversations with my client base as well, particularly the ones who have just started in their AI journey. And there are multiple ways to go about it. But I think the easiest way is to first establish a vertical, an AI vertical. Is to put together a core group of people who are highly skilled and experts in this space, and then build a solution that can actually go into production and generate value. That would be the major thing that can help them gain trust from their customers, from their board members, investors, and then once they have it, then that is usually called as central team, or companies even create center of excellence for AI, and that organization or that vertical is usually expected to not just build products or come up with newer ideas as an innovation lab, but also work on the enablement of other verticals where individuals might be interested in AI, or leaders might be interested to infuse AI in what they are doing. And that usually cuts across horizontally through the, across the verticals. And these experts also act as enablers for other teams to, get the right training and build the right materials as well. So that's usually, what I also recommend as an AI advisor to my client base, but also I've seen that happening in other organizations as well. And then I think it's also a matter of the maturity curve. Once the maturity starts to grow towards, just beginning towards the medium level growth, that's when it may be a good idea to think through how you can decentralize your team and have your experts in different teams. But because the resource is so scarce, I think going with the service model where your AI team works as a team as a service, AI as service team, right? That's
Within
where
the company.
within the company, right? I think that is something that I've seen happen across a lot of organizations.
The conversation about large organization has gone multiple folds. I'll ask one more last thing. So I as a leader of the organization want to adopt AI into the organization, and then the layer that you mentioned, data layer, software layer. On the data layer, my data points, they don't talk to each other right now. But for AI, that has to be at a certain stage so that I'll be able to leverage it. Now, I'm in a scenario where everyone is talking about AI, so I have a bit of a FOMO in my mind that, okay, what is happening? How long is it going to take? Can I apply AI in 6 months, 1 year, 2 years? How should a leader like that navigate, whose data points is not talking to each other? There are multiple softwares and they want to leverage AI to be actually realistic about large scale use of AI to actually generate value. How do you think they should think in this kind of scenario?
So data interoperability is a big challenge everywhere, right? Data is generated by one system, then that doesn't talk to another system. So I think the first place that they should start is by creating what is their strategy for data interoperability. I know. What is it going to be a 1-year challenge or a 2-year challenge or a 3-year strategy to kind of refine their data layer with the goal to eventually make it AI ready, if they really want to get into AI space, right? So there can be multiple layers that can run horizontally as we think of this as a roadmap. If we think of this as a 3-year roadmap, maybe one horizontal layer is that they will work on their data strategy to get it AI ready, but along the way they can carve out the milestones that can actually deliver the value that's coming from the data interoperability, data cleaning, data munging, data refinement layer, right? So maybe they can find some value out of it. The second layer that can run horizontally in parallel with the data strategy is the AI strategy layer, where while they wait for the data to be ready for AI? Can they cut vertical slices where they can start building AI that is not heavily dependent on the data itself? And usually a very simple and easier way to start, only if there is a demand in the customer layer, is from the UI layer itself and building intelligent UI. That's a new thing that's happening, is people are building intelligent UI to improve the latency, improve the hold time, average hold time in the calls. That could be a way to start, right, in the AI journey. So I think if they can think of it in such a way that they have to actually create the data strategy as well as the AI strategy in tandem, in parallel, in such a way that each of them start to benefit with each other, and also in such a way that they can start to create vertical slices that can deliver value in shorter run as well.
So if I'm a organization, again, which is, let's say, 2,000, 3,000 people strong, what is the timeline I should be looking at as a leader, as a, let's say, for example, board of that organization? Should I be looking at 1 year timeline, 2 years timeline, 3 years timeline? The reality being my systems don't talk to each other, my software don't talk to each other, multiple systems at different places. I want to leverage AI. Realistically, what is the time frame I should be comfortable with in my mind to actually get a return on investment on the things that we develop?
Positive ROI, I would suggest 3 years.
3 years.
Yes. But again, there are companies who have really done well within a year, but in that case, they have a really strong data layer and foundation for AI. Otherwise, I usually build ROIs that span between 3 years to 5 years, because that's where it's a good message to the leaders, and it's a good planning session as well, strategically as well, to let them know that they have to continue to do the work for the 3 years to actually get a big bang for the buck that they spend. But having said that, it should be covered in such a way that the products and the solutions should be designed in such a way that vertical slices can be built. As I say, vertical slice, that the entire system, which includes data, UI, model, AI, and software, everything. If they can cut out the vertical slices in such a way that they don't have to wait for 3 years to roll it out, but maybe can roll it out in 6 months or a year and start getting some return out of it. And then start putting it in the hands of the customers to get the value out of it. That would be the way to go.
Do you think as an organization, if I don't invest on my data layer right now, can I still survive in a couple of years? Would I still be consumer valuable with the way AI is moving? Do you think that's going to be a reality?
From my perspective, data is going to be one of the biggest currency in coming years, thanks to AI. It has always been very important. There have always been big buzz about data. Big data was a big buzz a while ago. Now the AI has taken some of that buzz, but if you want to have a successful product out, you need to figure out your AI, your data strategy.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. I think just in this block there is a lot of value for the people that we work with, and also similar organizations that are getting ready for AI adoption or doing some work around it. So we talked a lot about AI. How do you see a human becoming valuable in this entire spectrum? So how do you see yourself? How do you see yourself generating value when machines are doing so much of our work and they are getting better as we go? How do you see yourself generating value? Where are you upskilling yourself? What is the direction that you are taking as an individual? So if you could tell a bit about that.
Yeah. I think as humans who have, so just talking about an example of a machine learning engineer or a Python developer. So if the fear is that the model is going to take over or AI is going to take over, then I think there's always going to be a need for somebody who can actually manage the model, who can actually manage the AI system, right? Troubleshoot it, ensure that it's working correctly, because like I think going back to the industrial era where so much of industrial revolution took over, and people lost jobs to machines. And there's still people needed to drive the machines, right? There's still people needed to troubleshoot them and ensure that they're working the right path. It's the same thing with AI. So as a leader myself, as an AI leader, where I hone my skills are in ensuring that I understand the technologies well. I invest time in learning about them so that when things have to be built, and when things don't work, it is the experts who's going to step in and figure out how to make that work. So I think that's how we should think about it, because as AI takes over a lot of skills or jobs, let's say individuals' jobs, there would be new jobs created where the new jobs would be very different kinds, where it would be monitoring, designing, right, and building as well. So,
but do you think the skills are transferable? Let's say even on the industrial age example, right? A lot of people lost their job, but then there were some kind of people who actually changed or maybe upskilled themselves to be able to be relevant in that post-industrial era. If you have to point out 3 major skill sets for any individual right now that will help them transfer from where they are to a post-AI era, what would they be? I think you pointed to systems thinking one in the conversation that we had earlier, but then what are the other things that you think are crucial?
Yeah, system thinking would definitely be one where a person can understand the end-to-end. The others would be, I think, software engineering is also there. I mean, it's probably going to take another at least few years where, the people are going to 100% rely on the AI models codes. Becoming a expert software engineer is how they would be able to troubleshoot when AI models codes will not work 100%. That would be there. And I think a lot of skills like art, related to art, and the things that are actually hard to do with the machines, cooking, and maybe complex work that needs people's hand and crafts. Those would be also places where people, I believe personally that it would be in high demand as well, because it's hard to overtake with AI. So I think those were the few things.
Okay. The other thing on the human side, one thing that I've noticed is that, especially over the past 2 years, I've seen people go from AI probably is nothing, is probably not good enough, to now AI need to do everything. The spectrum jump has been pretty large in my experience. So when I look at humans, humans also make mistakes. Humans also do substandard work. So does AI as well, right? So in that scenario, are we very non-empathetic towards the development of the model as such, or do you have a different perspective on it?
I define that as how much risk are you willing to take? So back in the 2020, when I joined Centene and we were building models, I would put together this slide deck to educate the stakeholders on where do we actually draw the line for the model to make a decision, because the AI model is actually giving you a probabilistic outcome, right? So 90% probability that a decision is going to be right versus it's going to be wrong, right? And so where are we actually comfortable to say that, okay, we're going to bear the risk of 10% wrong answers and be okay with the times 90% of the time, because either we have a fallback solution, or that much of risk is worth taking because it's not going to be impactful. We can manage it another way. So I think it is really a matter of the risk that you're willing to take. Now, as we talk about the risk can be in the matter of money, right? Monetary risks. It could also be in terms of humans. At the cost of a human's life as well. Like if you talk about autonomous vehicles, right? The risk is just so high that it's just not even acceptable for it to have maybe 1% error, because that means that it can risk a person's life. So it is really a function of how much risk is the business, is the society willing to accept and take. So in that sense, being empathetic, I think being like how much empathy that you give to a model is going to be a function of that. Am I going to be empathetic to a self-driving car that has 10% margin? No, I cannot be, right? Nobody can be. So I think that's how I think about it.
Why I brought this point up is that just because of this scenario, I see a lot of people not putting the kind of effort they can actually put into the adoption, because obviously it is a frontier technology, it is moving very fast, there are so many things that are coming up every single day. And in my frame, the only way to actually understand this technology, the way it is moving, is to jump in, start building something, and then see how it is moving. Because there has been an AI history as well, but then this adoption curve has a totally different nature in itself as well. So I think I see organizations and people as well probably not buying into it right now. So that just brings me to the question of to everyone who is thinking that AI probably is a hype and will die down. What do you think? First of all, is AI a hype? The hype will it die down? Will it? Is it something that is here to stay? And how should we think about that?
Well, I might be biased to this because I am an AI leader and I'm very passionate about building AI products. So my answer to this is no. It's not a hype. It's not going to die down because a lot of things that software could do, taking or humans could do. We have proven examples of how AI has been doing it better. And also if we don't have to go too far out. If you just open your Siri or even Alexa app or Google, right? All of these are actually AI working under the hood. The fact that Siri can actually tell you where to go or what to do next, that's actually AI powered as well. So if you just look around yourself and all the gadgets that you've been using, even your smartwatch itself, they are all AI powered, and I hope that is enough to tell you that it is not a hype. It's been there for years, and it's going to build on its own trajectory, and hopefully that there's also some buzz about a lot of superhuman capabilities coming up as well. I don't think that it's going to be too far out as well. So so I think it is better to prepare ourselves for the next transition to the next industry level.
Do you think there's an opportunity for countries like Nepal in this scenario? I mean, obviously we won't be. We should. I don't know, but probably that's a conversation and a half in itself. But then, how should a country like Nepal, with the kind of resources that we have, with the kind of geographical positioning that we have, how can we actually leverage this adoption if it is not a hype and if it's here to stay? How should the government over here be thinking about it in your opinion?
I think government should really be looking into what are the major areas that can actually drive value for the country itself. Like, is it agriculture? Is it industry? Is it tech world? There's a lot of remittance coming in. There's a lot of revenue being generated with these tech companies that have global presence today. Those are just a new example. And then Nepal has primarily been an agricultural country for a long run. So I think looking into or tapping into the major areas that are the major sectors of revenue sources for the country would be the place to begin. And then once they have identified what are the areas that can actually where we actually need to generate higher value, that's where I think somebody that can look into it from the lens of AI would actually be beneficial to bring in and help them.
Are you optimistic that's going to happen?
I'm always an optimistic person, so I'll just say that I'm optimistic that can happen. And Nepal is a very small country. It doesn't take a lot of effort to bring about changes, but I think it's a function of having right people in right place to bring about that change.
Yeah. Okay, I think because over the past couple of years, I think we have seen a lot of positively reinforcing steps by the government as well, because like smaller things like allowing companies from here to go outside, build technologies over there, trying to put people where we can actually solve problems. We see a lot of people coming back to Nepal and experimenting a few things of what can be done with all the experience that we have. But I think on a more systemic level, I think there could be a lot stronger intervention, like we see in India. We see a very systemic intervention in India. Like I was recently in a conference in Hyderabad, and I saw an IAS officer in an AI conference through the day, for the 2 full days, talking to people, talking about the Telugu large language model they are building in Telangana. So there is a lot of interest over there, and I think do we see a lot of interest here from the government? A lot of conversations are happening, but then the intervention probably has to be a lot more urgent to be able to generate some value. Value again.
I agree, and I think there have been some legislative changes on the tax. For example, for these international companies, or even the tech companies here within the US too, within the Nepal too. So I mean, that is a glimmer of hope
Yeah.
that some things are happening. But I agree, having the right people in right place is going to be a game changer.
But probably also it could be a good place to attract a lot of talent as well as, because I think the thing you mentioned about the lifestyle here, and if they are connected to a global ecosystem, the experience they could actually have here in Nepal,
Yeah.
I think it's pretty good. I mean, like, I don't want to compare it to global standards or anything, but I think it has its own sense of intuitiveness, own sense of being around the nature. The country is beautiful, and I think that there could be a big opportunity. And then recently I was talking to some leaders from NASA IT, and then they are doing a lot of work to promote Nepal as a tech ecosystem, and I think that is something that the government can actually do to promote Nepal as a tech ecosystem where digital nomads can come. Places like Bali has benefited so much from that kind of thing and scenario, and I think there's a lot of things that are happening right now in Nepal. So now coming towards the end of this, I want to also understand the work that you are doing with SolvDat. How are you looking at it? How do you see the next 5 years for yourself in the company with the work that you are doing with the industry?
So SolvDat is a AI services company. So I've launched it as an AI services company, and as somebody who's built products for large organizations, utility or healthcare, and recently having invested a lot of time as AI leader and technologist in the healthcare space, my focus right now is to support organizations that have just started their AI journey, particularly healthcare organizations, with AI strategy, AI leadership, all the way up to building AI products and launching them, and helping them find the right resources. So that has been the mission of SolvDat as an AI services company for now. And like I said, we started last year, and the traction has been great. It's been very exciting. There's been lots of learnings, and I'm an adherent learner, so I'm loving what I'm doing right now. For the next 5 years, my focus is to, establish SolvDat as a services company that could eventually also build products on its own. So that is definitely one of the things that I want to explore and get started here in while here in Nepal, and build it up, and over the next few years.
That's amazing.
And
So you do feel Nepalese talent is good enough for global scale with some good mentorship?
I absolutely think so. Where I do think there's a gap is in the potentially senior leadership roles, because we are well aware that students graduate, they work, and then they're all going away for higher education abroad. So bridging that gap meaningfully, where we identify the right skills fresh off of schools or who've been working in the industry, and then giving them the right coaching and mentorship to get them into that senior leadership role. I think that is a gap that I think that we can help bridge if we can put our minds together.
Amazing. Anything else apart from SolvDat that you are doing right now in terms of your endeavors, or anything that you might be doing here in Nepal or US?
Yeah, so in addition to SolvDat, which is a technical space, I'm also somebody who believes in bringing about change socially, and I absolutely believe that change comes about with an effort of a single person, and if you want to bring change, then you have to start somewhere. So I do run a nonprofit organization. It's a 501c3 nonprofit organization in the US, and it's called Timro Suraksha Hamro Kartabya. It raises awareness about child sexual abuse in our communities, and we've been running grassroots level awareness programs and campaigns at schools here in Nepal for about 5 years now, and so I do plan to continue doing that and give it a much bigger shape, and touch much more touch the entire bigger communities with those awareness programs. So far, we've done about 20 different campaigns, and educated about 5,000 children, and 500 teachers, and trained about 20 psychotherapists, child psychotherapists last year. So it's just something that I'm very passionate about, and I plan to continue doing that.
It's amazing. But I mean, like, it's interesting for an AI leader, I think, but there must have been there must be something that you're connecting to it so deeply for you to be able to dedicate your time after doing so much on the AI spectrum for 5 years already. I didn't actually think that it was 5 years. But then, is there something that is driving you, the problems that you see here in Nepal, to actually be there and also put so much of effort to create that change here?
Yeah, so as an AI leader, I am somebody who's always been a data-driven person.
Yeah.
So I do think that education reform there's a long way to go in terms of education reform here in Nepal, particularly in the context of children education. And even, there are different levels of or different standards of schools
Yeah.
that have been built here in Nepal. But as we talk about, or as we even think about children's education and children health, mental health, being a mom of 2 kids myself, that has always been a passionate topic for me. But being somebody who believes in becoming data driven, I think there's a lot of opportunity for us to figure out how, based on the past experiences and based on what the trajectory of the education has been currently, how can we shape it properly so that we can actually grow, more safer and collectively a better have collectively a better experience for our children growing up, and that's eventually going to shape up their future and country's future too. So even though it might feel like tangential approach, the thing that connects both of my endeavors right now is the data layer itself.
Amazing. I think there is so much that we covered. And then I think as we were talking, we have a lot of community members whose names and faces were popping up in my head. Okay, this person is going to benefit from this part of the conversation. That person is going to benefit from this part of the conversation. I think for the people over here, I think there's going to be a lot of value that we discuss. Yeah, anything that you want to, it's been wonderful, but anything else that you want to add to the conversation that we had, anything that we left out, maybe anything that you want to express at the end?
I think we talked about a lot of things, particularly focused on AI and very elaboratively as well. So I really appreciate you having me here, and thank you to the team members as well, making this an amazing experience. And it's been a really wonderful time spent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for coming back here, doing the work here, and for the community as such, to have a senior leader like you working in the AI spectrum. There is always something to look up to, or always something that people can see. Okay, we have someone from the diaspora that we can go and reach out to. I think that's going to be a lot of value add, and I think I for sure definitely get a lot of calls and messages to put you intros with people that that need some more help with AI expertise. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you giving time to us, and hopefully we can do it next time when you come to Nepal.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.